Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to give us a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. That way other folks will know that we're here. And for that, we say thank you so very much, family. We have a bit of a doozy today. I know you all have seen, some of you at least, have seen my coverage and, of course, some of my colleagues' coverage on the outrage of the ICE enforcement, what they call them raids and so forth. And the issue, of course, that I have with that is that so much attention and empathy and sympathy and resources and money and houses and cars and jobs and congressional action has been taken on behalf of felons, criminals who jumped the border, swam the Great Seas, or whatever way they got here. And we put them before those of us who are responsible for the creation of these United States of America, meaning we do for them what we haven't even done for us, meaning give them actual tangibles in a substantive and meaningful way. Now, this is very important. I have no problem with legal immigration. I'm a woman of the nations. You all see my international coverage. So that's not a conversation you can have with me on that, but I believe in justice at every level. Yes? Now, I want you to watch this brief clip where your funny looking Black congressional folk, your funny looking Black media shields are doing the bidding of other interests. They put other folks' suffering and issues before our own. Watch this brief clip.
Florida's Attorney General says that the first group of immigrants have arrived in the Everglades Detention Center, known as Alligator Alcatraz. President Trump visited there earlier this week. The Trump administration has embraced the idea of alligator guards as a joke. Those of us familiar with the history of the Jim Crow South know the idea of using Black babies as alligator bait has a long, ugly history. The White House tries to claim its immigration policies aren't about race. But don't these stunts expose their motivations very clearly, or at least should raise their sensitivity?
Yeah, the last thing I would expect from this particular toxic administration at this point is sensitivity to any of the painful parts of our history. They've tried to erase our history, sanitize and whitewash our history. You know, the big problem with the Trump administration, we see all of these stunts that continue to take place, very toxic stunts, extreme stunts in many cases. But what have they done to actually address the issues of importance to the American people, like lowering the high cost of living? This guy, Donald Trump, promised to lower the high cost of living, lower grocery costs on day one. Costs aren't going down, they're going up. And by the way, as a result of this one big ugly bill, you're going to see utility bills start to skyrocket as a result of some of the things that have been done in this reckless Republican budget. And instead, they're focused on stunts like this alligator Alcatraz situation. By the way, Rev, what they should be doing, what they promised to do, was to deport violent felons who are undocumented. Instead, in many cases, they're going after law-abiding immigrant families. We all want to secure the border, but what is taking place right now is not what I believe the American people signed up for last November.
Okay, family, right there you just saw this segment between Al Sharpton, Reverend Al Sharpton, and this leader Jeffries. Now, of course, leader Jeffries believes in putting Netanyahu and all his people and all their interests before foundation of Black Americans. Talk black to me, somebody. He goes out there and he does outrageous stuff and speaks on behalf of everybody but us in terms of a substantive way where we're getting tangible specifically for Black folks. He doesn't believe in that. So he's happy to be the leader in Congress. And my understanding is when you begin to track leader Jeffries, his career, you will find that he was actually kind of prepped and primed for this. And some of the different entities that represent other foreign governments were actually investing in his career, and in my opinion, to guide it to the point to where it is now so that he could use his position in Congress to benefit them. Talk black to me, somebody. With that being said, you see them sitting up here talking about conflating Jim Crow tactics to the ICE immigration stuff. They're going off on Trump and his administration for invoking that. Now, let me tell you something. It is diabolical for Trump, his administration, ICE, and other folks to compare, conflate, and to play with anything related to the disrespect of the foundation of Black Americans. But I want to highlight this because on the one hand, you see the Al Sharptons of the world, the Congressional Black Caucus folk, your Black leaders that are supposed to be doing your interests, they're supposed to be using their power for the benefit of Black Americans. You see them, on the one hand, the only reason why they're fussing about the Jim Crow connection there is because it's got something to do with illegal criminals. Y'all see that? They're not saying this to justify Black folk getting tangibles and saying that because of our historic mistreatment in this country, we'll still do justice and we'll still do tangibles and reparations and other such things. They're fussing because they want to protect the migrants. So they're raising their voice in this context about conflating the diabolical alligator Jim Crow tactics to them. That's in that context. So don't pull it out. Do y'all understand what I'm trying to say right there? Now it gets, it's a bit of a cocktail. It feels all mixed up because that's exactly, and I need y'all to listen to this, that's exactly the problem I have. And why Black folks in America keep delineating ourselves from everybody else, because when folks are allowed to complicate our histories, mesh our history, amalgamate our histories, mix our histories, cocktail our histories, that means you get to get benefits that actually belong to us. And we stay further behind. This is exactly why we should not do that, because folks that ain't got no business getting our benefits get it. Why is that important? Because that means we remain in poverty. That means that we're still not the homeowners that we ought to be. That means that we're still being gerrymandered. Do y'all understand? That means that we still don't have the political power and the resources that are due us like we're supposed to do. That means we continue to stay further behind. It's not just them folks over there and the illegals are getting resources that belong to us. It's the effects of that, which means we stay further behind. I'm going to read you a more recent article about this so-called alligator Alcatraz and Trump joking around about. I'm reading from an article here from Axios that says alligator Alcatraz lens on myths steeped in racism. Just a couple of little bits and pieces from this piece. It says, key to the marketing ploy underpinning Florida's detention camp in the Everglades is the alligator portrayed by Republican leaders as a bloodthirsty poison guard ready to attack anyone who escapes. This matters, it says. Why it matters. It says nothing about the portrayal is accurate. Experts in alligator biology and history tells Axios. Well, what's more, the idea of the alligator lusting for human flesh is rooted in racism, dating back to Jim Crow when tourists could buy postcards illustrating Black children as gator bait. There's more in between that, but I'm going to skip down to this other part here. Yes, it says here that flashback, it says that's the section, it's called flashback. It says the idea of alligators as ferocious human-eating beasts dates back to accounts from William Bartram, a naturalist from Philadelphia who in the late 18th century traveled to the Southeast. Barrow told Axios. Bartram's widely read book chronicling the experience included the over-the-top descriptions of the reptile and stories of seemingly unprovoked attacks. Perhaps you all can see this picture here from the article. The myth has persisted for centuries, including after emancipation, when the false racist belief that alligators like the taste of Black flesh proliferated in the South. It was part of the broad campaign to dehumanize, oppress, suppress newly freed African Americans, Barrow said. The history is why the University of Florida ceased its, quote, gator bait cheer and banned performance in 2020. Now, I want you all to understand what's happening here. If you are saying, well, Vicki, on the one hand, Al Sharpton is mad because he don't want Trump to talk about it because it's steeped in racism. But on the other hand, you see Congress, the Congressman Jeffries, them still constantly linking those two things together with the immigration issue. That is what I'm trying to show you all. Just like you can understand why it's important that they don't invoke Jim Crow, anti-Black, diabolical tactics such as the alligator bait. It's the same reason we're also saying our title and how we label our lineage as FBA for some of us, Foundation of Black Americans. Others use other terms, but that's one of the more active ones, the ones that's the most influential right now. Foundation of Black American is not a club, it's not a group, it's not a corporation. Talk black to me, somebody. It's a lineage. So you can't have no president of it. You don't have secretaries. You don't have minutes from this thing, and you don't take up dues for lineages. You understand? We made that specification because we are still without, and we're still behind, and we're still behind because you keep stealing. You see? See, when you come here to the country as a migrant, especially illegally, and you come against us and you join in and take resources, that means you're a thief too. That means that you have blood on your hands. And that means that you're still responsible and participating and complicit in the undoing of a people that created the country that you fled to illegally. Shame on Congressional Black Caucus. Shame on Leader Jeffries. And shame on that so-called Reverend Al Sharpton. It is diabolical. And just like you don't want Trump invoking Jim Crow images related to migrants, we don't want you to invoke any of our other history by trying to scare Black folks to death, by putting other folks' issues before ours. And when you don't push reparations, and when you don't push serious tangibles for us first, then you are missing your own point, even in this particular issue. I can't wait to see what you have to say about it. This is why we have to extract and delineate so that we can get the resources that's due to us. We don't want you mixing up nothing, because that means we stay far, far behind. My name is Vicki Dillard, beloved. Be sure to check out my website at vickiplanet.com. I'm so excited because I'm expanding my media and my spiritual work, beloved, in a very powerful way. Learn more about my very low-cost monthly school and some of my other products and services at my website at vickiplanet.com. Join the email list there so that you're notified directly. I can't wait to see you again.